Aloha everybody, this is Sean with Homestead in Hawaii, and today I am sitting here in my sweet potato patch ready to harvest these guys. Now, are you thinking about growing sweet potatoes on your homestead? Well, you're going to want to follow along because I'm going to show you everything that it takes to harvest these sweet potatoes and then go ahead and propagate them and start a whole new bed of your own after we're done here. Alright guys, this is my sweet potato patch right here. This has been planted about 6 months ago, and now it is ready to harvest. I'm ready to harvest the tubers. But before that point, I was actually harvesting pretty much from 1 month up until now. These shoots on the root tip, the vine tips here, are edible, and they're like a spinach substitute. You can use them in stir fries. However you use cooked greens in your cooking, spinach or this sweet potato tip can definitely double for that. I have two types of sweet potatoes growing. I have this one here where the leaf is sort of what is that, collar shape, heart shape, and then I have this one here where the leaves are a little more triangular, mapley looking. And so I'm going to harvest these sweet potatoes pretty much just by I'm going to start by weeding this bed, but I'm going to save some of the vines for future planting, especially the ones with the roots. Just set those aside. Everything else, just go ahead and just clear out of the way. Let's get this soil exposed so that we can find those roots. Check out the size of these snails around here. We're not messing around. And while I don't know if these types of snails are proven to be carriers of rat lung disease, I'm not worried about eating them, but maybe there's slime on my stuff. But rat lung disease is a serious problem out here. It can cause paralysis and even death. And I hear it's super painful. So when I come across these, I just give them a big toss or feed them to the chickens. All right guys, so now we have our sweet potato patch cleared out. We have some bare soil here that'll make it easy for us to dig out the tubers. And what you want to do is with a shovel or a garden fork, go in there very slowly, very lightly, and try and dig out your tubers without damaging them too much. So this was our harvest. Pulled out a decent amount of sweet potatoes, but not quite what I was hoping for a patch this size. I got 2 handfuls like this. And I don't know if you saw, but this was a good 10 by 10 space. And 2 handfuls of sweet potatoes like this, that's not gonna cut it, is it? I recently learned a new method for planting sweet potatoes that should help with increasing our tuber harvest. The method I learned to plant sweet potatoes was to plant individual starts about 12 inches apart. When I planted these sweet potatoes here, I pretty much just planted 1 or 2 vines, popped them in the ground, and then it just spread and took over. And that method there doesn't really encourage too much tuber growth. So this time around, we're going to plant more slips, potato slips, in the garden, and 6 months from now, I'm going to be hoping that we're going to be harvesting much more abundance than this in this spot. All right, so we're going to get our sweet potato slips ready for transplant, and it's a pretty simple process. So I'm going to just grab one of the vines that I pulled out of the ground here. I'm going to choose not the part that already formed the little tubers, but I'm just going to go ahead and choose this guy. So like this can go in the ground right here. This could be one plant. In fact, you don't really need roots or leaves at all. Sweet potato will probably just go ahead and root no problem, but I'm choosing to save some roots just to help quicken the process. So this is a great example. A couple leaves growing, a good base of roots. Just take off the other part, and this is one of our slips. Hopefully these roots will form into nice big tubers down the road. So we're going to save one of these. And just going at random from the garden, this one's a little broken, but this will still work. We can save one of these. And we're going to save about, we got a not too big, 6x6 area, so we'll have 8-10 plants that we're going to put in there. Look, this one just has a little bit of roots growing on this big long stem in the middle of the stem, so we could actually take that part off, and I'm gonna cut some leaves off too on the top and just save this little section. And then I'll even get another planting section off of this. I could probably get a few. There's a couple different nodes, but let's just stick with 1 or 2 off this guy. All right, that one broke there. If I had pruners, I could get more precise, but you can see that it really doesn't require it. So that's how you're gonna separate your plants and create your individual slips. And the idea is that each one of these, while the leaves may create a vining action on the surface and trail across the surface of the garden bed and cover it all up, creating a dense ground cover, it'll be this spot here where we planted the individual root system, where we're going to be getting the bulk of our tubers. Whereas before, as I mentioned, I only planted 1 or 2 of these, thinking that as it vined out, it would root into the soil and create more tubers there. I think that was happening, but it requires a lot more time. So this is how we're going to speed up the process. All right, guys, we got our little cuttings here, and we are going to put them into the soil. We are going to put these cuttings, get the roots in the ground, and space them about every 12 inches or so apart. Being sure to get enough soil there. Here's my little ratter. She gets the little rats around this property and loves to visit me when I work in the garden. Here she is. Hey, this is Penny. She's a feisty little one. Ah. All right, let's get to work. Just like to take this hoary here, make a little hole in the soil, get the part with the roots deep down in there, and voila, you have yourself a sweet potato start. And let's go along and continue doing this along the whole area of the bed. Alright, well there you have it, guys. We just planted those sweet potatoes. I wanted to mention that the best time to plant sweet potatoes would be between the months of March and May. If you plant them too late, like in the fall, they're less productive. So you want them to have time to grow throughout the summer and then harvest in the fall, and you'll get more tubers that way. Sometimes you might see sweet potatoes growing in rocky areas, and they'll grow, no problem. They'll produce lots of viney greens that are good for eating, but you really won't find too many tubers. It's important for the sweet potatoes to be grown in ground that has soil that's not too fertile of soil, and you'll get tubers that crack and are not very good. You want soil that is a little bit depleted but still good and loose and drains very well, and then you'll have a good crop of potatoes. If you appreciated any of the information in this video, please hit like, leave a comment below, and subscribe to this channel. We're constantly adding new content and looking to make this thing grow so that more of us can go off-grid in Hawaii. Till next time, everybody. Aloha. Ahui ho.